Jags Nation, this is the Action Sports Jax Postgame Show.
Well, you just watched it. Another loss by our Jacksonville Jaguars. They are now 0-2 to start the season, and you know what that means, gang. Statistically, and now a long shot to be thinking about playing football in January. You don't like to say it, and anything's possible, but this team is not playing good football, and they lost today to Cleveland for a myriad of reasons, of which we're going to go into. Hi, everybody. Hicken here. It's the post-game show. You should be angry. It's just totally disappointing watching this football team the last 2 weeks. In 8 quarters, they have mustered 30 points on the offensive side of the ball. That is not near good enough to win. The defense had a bad first half, really showed out in the second half. I thought played much better. There's a lot of stuff to get into here over the next hour that we're going to talk about. But here's what it means. It means the Jags are 0-2. And it means since 1990, teams that start 0-2 have basically an 11% chance of making the postseason. It happens maybe once every other year. It happened last year with the Houston Texans, so all is not lost. But we got problems. We got big problems on the offensive side of the ball. The offensive line is not good enough. It is not holding up. And it is leading to Trevor Lawrence not playing particularly good football. It's not all his fault. He's got to play better. We can't run the ball when we need to. We couldn't throw the ball when we needed to today. I don't know what happened with the play calling. Some suggesting perhaps Doug Pederson took over in the second half, which is no big deal. I mean, when one guy it's not going well, you switch it up. But it's a mess right now. It's a mess, and the Jags are not playing good football. And now they're 0-2. They lost 18-13 to Cleveland. Oh, they had their chances. Oh, they had their chances. Actually had to take a touchdown off the board because of a penalty, an illegal shift. That's not good. Took a safety, missed a field goal, doinked one off the upright. Cleveland took advantage early on in the first half and built a big lead. And there's a problem when you play in the NFL and you play poorly for almost 3 quarters. The game almost switched. It was almost a mirror image of what happened last week. We get a big play. We turn things around. Suddenly it's 16-10. We're right back in it. The difference is we couldn't cash in when we had the chances. And we had chances. Let's take a look at the quarterback comparison, first things first. And we'll see that. Give me the numbers, Liv, because I don't have them in front of me. Yeah. Under 50% is not near good enough in the NFL. Not all his fault. Sometimes you got to catch the ball. Sometimes you got to block better. But 14 of 30 for 220 is not near good enough. Comparatively, what was Deshaun Watson, Liv? 22 of 34 for 186. A little bit better. Deshaun Watson made an unbelievably stupid play at the end of the game. It was 3rd down and 8. He rolled out and actually threw the ball instead of taking the sack. We got Doug Pederson at the podium. Let's listen in. He's got some explaining to do.
Comes down to, awareness. Comes down to just execution on the field. Comes down to, coaching. There's a lot of things I think we can maybe point a finger at, but it's definitely an area that needs to improve.
Could you take us inside near the end of the first half, the 2 timeouts called as opposed to delay a game there?
Yeah, I mean it's just the situation, the situational awareness. I mean, the clock was running down, and we just. It can't happen. It just can't happen. And so had to take the 2 timeouts.
Doug, what happened on the safety? Was it a protection issue? Were there bad routes run? Should Trevor have gotten rid of it? What was kind of your thought process on the breakdown there?
It's we knew what we had to do. We had to go 98 yards obviously, and just we had a chance to push the ball down the field at that time, and it just felt like the pocket collapsed a little bit on his left side, and just nowhere to go with the ball. So we just gotta clean that stuff up.
Doug, I think at halftime you said to TV or radio that the nonsense has to stop. Can you kind of explain what you were talking about there?
Just execution.
Doug, is the offensive line good enough to execute the way you guys want to or need to?
I feel they are, yes.
Doug, over here.
I see you, Gene.
Okay. Could you just talk a little bit about I don't know if you would call it lack of energy, lack of rhythm, but how do you explain that first half? Because it just seemed like both sides of the ball just couldn't get anything going. Yeah,
that's something we need to look into and find out why. It's really, we have an opportunity to play a football game. We're blessed to coach and play, and you should be excited about stepping on the field and giving everything you have. And it's a tough sport, and it's something I got to try to figure out with the guys and see what's going on.
Doug, how stunned are you at just the lack of offensive execution the last 6 quarters?
Yeah, I mean, it's not who we are, I mean, these guys, coaches, players, they work too hard during the week, and listen, that's a good defense. It's a really good defense, probably one of the best in the league, and if there's a measuring stick, then we didn't measure up very well today, and something we got to look at, and there's too much talent, I think. I mean, there's signs of it, but just not consistent enough.
I think you had 22 plays for 74 yards with about 2 minutes to go in the third. What changed where you did start to get some things going?
I don't know. I guess, we went a little up-tempo and, I think just the tempo, really. Just executed with our backs against the wall.
Doug, it looked like you took exception to the 2 roughing the passer penalties on your defense early, and then looked like there might have been a no call on Trevor late. Anything you got from the officials talking to them, going back and forth about how, maybe the ticky-tackness of those calls?
No.
Doug, in terms, third down was an issue last week in the loss to Miami. Today, 3-9. Anything you can put your finger on as to why execution isn't better on third down?
I mean, we definitely got to look at the film and see why. But, third down's an important down, and we know they got some great pass rushers over there, and we just didn't do our part. And maybe it's on us as coaches. We didn't help our guys out enough. But we just got to look at the tape and figure out why.
And then what happened with Evan, and then how much of a hole does that put you in when you lose your tight end an hour before the game?
Yeah, it was unfortunate. It was during his warm-up, prior to pregame, and it was, right at the time when we put our inactives in. So we didn't have an opportunity to make a change. But it's no different if he goes down play one, So we still have to go out and play.
Doug, it seems like you're just at a loss to kind of figure out why this team is performing at the level it is. Is that correct? And what's next to try?
Well, I'm at a loss because we've been together for a while now, right? And we shouldn't be playing the way we're playing. We shouldn't be coaching the way we're coaching. So I take accountability, there. It starts with me. So. And then it goes to the assistant coaches and players. But I just know that we're a better football team than what we played today.
Doug, along those lines, I know you put a lot of work in to lead up to this point through camp and everything, but do you have to avoid hitting the panic button early, and do you do anything to kind of jumpstart these guys, that locker room?
Well, I think you don't hit the panic button. I mean, it's a long season ahead, but we got to figure some things out in a hurry. You know, we've got to coach some things and do some things. Each person has to look at themselves in the mirror. You know, me included, and you know, just we've got to do better. I mean, it's disappointing. It's disappointing because there's glimpses of greatness out there, but it's not consistent enough.
Anybody else for Coach? Last one here.
One of those glimpses of was Brian Thomas Jr. How do you feel that he's adjusted to the pro game and so far in 2 regular season games?
I think he's done a nice job. Made a couple big plays the last 2 games, and it's helped us score some points. So it's good to see him coming along and doing the things that we've asked of him, and you just see his ability to make plays down the field.
Doug, one last thing. Could you just talk about the frustration of losing the timeouts in the first half? 2 of them were to avoid delay of game penalties, and I forget what the first one was. But how tough is that? You know, because you want to hold them in your pocket, hold them to give yourself time in that last drive, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah, it's tough.
All right. Trevor is right here. So.
All right, you see that's a disappointed Doug Pederson as he continues to, boy, he's in a bad way right now. He's in a bad way, and his football team is too. I think the most poignant thing he said is we work too hard. I think we're too good of a football team, and we've been together too long to be coaching like we are doing, to be playing like we are doing, and I think that's a good point. Think about it this way, gang. Trevor Lawrence has lost his last 7 starts with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let that sink in for just a second as Trevor now hits the podium, and let's see what he has to say. Ooh, they're quick to the podium today.
Yeah, I mean, obviously just play where even if, don't have a ton of time, I got to get rid of it. You're in the end zone and just held on to it for a tick too long, trying to wait on it to develop downfield. And I was trying to move away from a little interior guy that kind of got through, and then it's a bad play by me, I thought the O-line did a good job for most of the night, holding up against a really good pass rush, really good group. It just can't happen. Whether, just live to find another down. If it's not there right away, get it out of your hand. Second will be second down on the 2 instead of taking that safety, and basically ends the game. Obviously our defense got a big stop, gave us another shot, but, slim chances.
Trevor, how stunned are you by the offensive performance in the last 6 quarters?
Yeah, I mean, we suck right now, so I don't. Pretty shocked. Obviously we had a great offseason, great training camp, and we got to figure it out. So we know we got a good group, we got good players, and we can be a really good offense, but clearly we're not. So everybody's got to take accountability, look in the mirror, and fix it. I got to play better. I'm the leader of this offense. It's on me. The wideouts got to play better. The line's got to play better. Running backs got to play better. We got to coach better. I mean, it's everybody, honestly. But we're standing around. We got to take charge. We're standing around waiting on somebody to make a play. Defense is playing their ass off the last 2 weeks. If the team doesn't score more than 20 points on us, we should win every week. We can't finish in the red zone today. Too many mistakes, getting in and out of the huddle. Communication wasn't good. I mean, it's a lot of things. And fortunately and unfortunately, it's what pisses you off after the game. A lot of it we control. But we control it, but we're not doing it right. So until we do it right, it's a different story. So we know the things we got to work on, and we got to find a rhythm as an offense. Too many good players to perform like that. Really, the last 2 weeks.
Trevor.
I'm sorry.
I was going to ask you about that because obviously it's a rhythm position where once you get into a rhythm, everything kind of flows in it. But how hard has it been to get that kind of rhythm? And secondly, did the Browns show you anything differently defensively that maybe you didn't see on film before?
Not really. This is a team that does what they do, and this coordinator's been in the league for a long time. He's been really good for a long time and has had a bunch of good defenses. And their scheme is simple and they're physical and they play fast and they diagnose things quickly. And we had what I thought was a good plan, and obviously maybe it wasn't a good plan. Who knows? Didn't work. We didn't execute it great either. So there's a lot of stuff we got to go back to the drawing board and look at. And like I said, everybody just has to look in the mirror, and this isn't the time to start getting defensive. But we got to stand up and say, this is on me. I got to fix it. Everybody's got to fix it.
Trevor, it just seems like things were disjointed from the get-go. You guys had to use 2 timeouts in the first half to avoid delay of games. You slammed the ball in frustration on one of them. Anything you can point to as to why it just took so long to get into any kind of rhythm?
Yeah, I don't know, to be honest. Seemed like, I also, one of those was on me. The clock was rolling. It was after a big play, and we didn't have the urgency getting out of the huddle and getting up to the line and seeing the play clock. I'll own that when we took the first time out. Then after that, it's just communication, like we're getting in late. We're trying to figure it out. And, obviously Evan went down today before the game, so some things changed, but it doesn't matter. There's no excuses. You got to perform, and you got to be able to adjust and, know the plan, know the plays that are coming in. If it changes personnels, if whatever changes, we got to get in faster. We got to get out of the huddle. This is a team. Like I said, they're really good up front. You want to know where you're going protection-wise. You have time to communicate. You want to get out of the huddle quickly so you can communicate. And they do have some pressure stuff that's really good that you have to be able to diagnose. And if you don't have time, it makes it really hard. And we played behind the clock way too much today, especially in the red zone. So we got to look at it and say, hey, is it me? Am I not communicating good enough in the huddle? Are we not getting our substitutes in fast enough? Are we not listening enough in the huddle? Are we not tight enough? Are we breaking the huddle and asking what we got? Like different things. I mean, it's on all of us. We all have to look at that and just put emphasis on communication. I mean, it's day one stuff. It's simple stuff.
You mentioned follow-up. You mentioned earlier about not having Evan. What about Christian Kirk? It just seems like, for whatever reason, he hasn't been able to get going either.
Yeah, it's a great point. That's something where there's opportunities where, I got to give him the ball, but we got to get him the ball. We got to make that an emphasis. He's one of our best players. We got to keep him involved. And I'm not putting that on anyone in particular. There was opportunities for him to get the ball today where maybe I didn't get to him quick enough or didn't find him. I went somewhere else with the ball or whatever. But we have to continue to give him the opportunities to make plays because we've all seen how good he is. And he's not the only one. So we can't hit the panic button, but we gotta have some real conversations, and we got too good of a team to come out here and perform 2 weeks in a row like this. These games are precious, and you don't get them back, and we're 0-2 to start the year, and it's not gonna get any easier. We got a lot of good teams on our schedule, so coming up this week, so we better fix it quick. But we can't hit the panic button at the same time. We have to stay together.
Yeah, just to piggyback off that part, what is that balance, Trevor, between not hitting the panic button but saying, hey, what we're doing right now isn't working, and is there a step to take to kind of jumpstart this thing?
Yeah, I think it's holding yourself and others accountable, honestly. I mean, if when we go watch this game tomorrow, whenever we watch it, I'm not sure the schedule with the Monday night game, whenever we go watch this game, we got to be honest with ourselves, and if you don't like it, and if you made a mistake, and you don't like people calling it out and talking about it, you need to find a different job because this isn't the one. Things matter, little details matter, and I'm talking to myself as much as anyone, so I don't want it to be misconstrued. But that stuff matters, and you look at every play. Everyone had a play today, at least one, that they can do their job a lot better. And you look back at it, and all those plays add up, and they affect the game, and you end up losing. And we played as bad as we can play, and 18-13 or something? I mean, we were 1 for 4 in the red zone. If we score one of those times, we win the game. I mean, it comes down to that. We had where we didn't get set on the one play or touchdown to Christian, and then you look back at the drive earlier in the first half, we had the 2 timeouts, and then after that, I think I missed Brian, who was open, and then after that, I had to scramble and whatever. So it's just little details, and we were in the red zone twice, close down inside the 5, and didn't score, and you can't do that in this league. You got to take advantage of those opportunities. So, yeah.
Trevor, you and Doug, did some frustration kind of boil over at one point? I think TV cameras kind of caught you guys a little bit of an animated conversation at one point.
I don't honestly remember when that was. No, I mean, just me and him talking to each other. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah. I honestly don't remember. I mean, we've had a lot of conversations, today throughout the game, and it's stuff where, I mean, we're on the same page. So I guess that's what I'd say there. We're on the same page.
All right, thanks, Trevor.
Yeah. All right.
All right, that's a frustrated Trevor Lawrence. Now listen, before we got to him, I just told you he's lost his last 7 starts. This guy's not used to losing, and around here we're losing a lot of football games. And we're quick to blame Trevor, and look, he deserves a lot of the blame. He's the franchise quarterback. But let me just suggest to you, when he was given time and allowed to set up and had a clean pocket, and Brian Thomas Jr. ran down the field, it was a 66-yard pass of absolute beauty. So it's in there. It's a team game. And again, I think Trevor said it best. Every one of us had a play today that we could have done a little bit better. And I think that is so very true when you look at what happened. I mean, in the red zone 4 times, 1 touchdown. I mean, missing a field goal. I mean, an illegal shift where a touchdown gets called back. I mean, a sack in your own end zone for a safety when you get the ball and you have a chance to go win the football game. Defense is not immune either, although they have been playing much better than the offense. But we got bailed out to get another chance at the end of the game with 35 yards of penalties by the Browns. So, look, you're 0-2. You got Buffalo on the road and Houston on the road. You got to find some wins, and you better find them quick. If you're 0-4 and the 2 harder games are coming up than the first 2. Buffalo waxed Miami. Miami beat us, all right? Cleveland got hammered by Dallas, who gave up, I don't even know how much to New Orleans, but at last check it was over 40-some points. So the next 2 are even harder than these 2. And this one is going to take some time to digest because, man, when you go back and look at this game and they start talking about, oh, yeah, I forgot about, oh, yeah, and then there was that, oh, yeah, and then there was that, oh, yeah, and then there was that. It was terrible. I mean, who played well for the Jaguars today? Brent and Strange? When Evan Ingram went out? Maybe. Where's Christian Kirk been? I mean, what has he got? 1 catch this year? In 2 games? That's unfathomable. Gabe Davis with a drop. Trevor with some missed throws. Trevor taking a sack he can't take. It all starts up front to me, though. And up front is just not good enough. And I don't know. Were they fooled into thinking that it would be good enough? It's not good enough. Cleveland's a great D-line. A great D-line. But you're going to keep facing great D-lines in the NFL. They're all good. They're all good. So Brent Martineau is going to join us now, give us some of his thoughts. But we're looking at Trevor's top. I'm all right. I mean, I'm just so. I mean, look. We live for football season. I'll do this one comparison with Florida. Whereas at Florida, I know what's to blame. It's the coach 100%. Here, I can't figure it quite out because they're all to blame.
Yeah, I think there's plenty of blame to go around, right? And we kind of don't know the diagnosis of that offense.
Yes.
Listen, forget about the defense. They weren't great today.
Yeah.
But whatever. It's about the offense.
Yeah.
They scored 17 points.
30 points.
None in the second half, by the way.
30 in 2 games.
Well, in the last 6 quarters now, they've scored 13.
Oh.
Right? So, I mean, you take away that good couple of drives, and now you really got nothing. They had 22 plays with 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. 22 plays for 74 yards. And then they went up tempo and they got some stuff going.
Yes.
But this is panic time with this offense. They've built this offense for 3 years. There's continuity in the offense with the staff, with a very talented quarterback, and with a lot of players that have played in this offense. And the biggest thing for me is that they cannot get organized. They cannot operate and function. Twice down here they had to use timeouts with the ball first and goal at the 2-yard line and then inside the 5-yard line. Then they have Dearness Johnson, who's playing for Tank Bigsby, but know your role.
Yes.
He couldn't get it lined up, negates a go-ahead touchdown. And then on the last drive, they have an illegal formation 10-second runoff. I mean, this is not a third year in an offensive system kind of operation.
And I'm going to suggest to you, and I don't know this, but we've been watching it for more than a year now, I feel like, and I know it's a group think tank on play calling, but if one guy calls a play and the other guy says, no, it's quick, man. We can break it down for you. You got X amount of seconds to get that play in. And if they take those 5 or 6 seconds and change it, then it expedites everything, and it puts Trevor in some undue and unfortunate circumstances. And he admits sometimes it's on him as well.
Well, and you just heard him, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is as defeated as we've saw.
Yes.
We've heard not Trevor, but Doug.
Yes.
Doug last Monday
Yes.
and Doug today, as defeated as we've seen. He's searching for answers. And the reason he's searching for answers, I believe, is because these are coached up things that guys know how to do, they're not doing.
Right.
And I think Trevor put an exclamation point on that. Sure, he can take a little blame, but there's a lot of guys that don't know their assignments coming out of the huddle,
right,
that aren't doing the right thing, and that are costing them the operation. And the reason why you know that is because Trevor then said, we've got to get to the line of scrimmage because this defense does a lot.
Right.
And if you don't get there in time, you can't disguise what's going on, see what they're trying to disguise.
Right.
Which tells me they're spending too much time getting guys lined up.
Yeah.
Brenton Strange in for
Or
Evan
personnel.
Ingram. Dearness Johnson
Yeah.
in for Tank Bigsby. Is that the problem?
Doesn't matter.
It
There's no
doesn't
excuse.
matter.
They're
Do it.
professionals.
No, you
You're
gotta
being
do it.
paid to do it. You've got to be able to do it, and they're not getting it done. And that is really they're 0-2. Now we're in the 11% range.
Oh, it's listen, this is panic time. And, and we always do this and kind of jokingly around.
Yeah.
When do you hit the panic button?
Yeah.
Now, those guys didn't say it because they can't. That you can't hit the panic button if you're in that locker room.
Right.
But you have to jostle this thing up a little bit. And you have to do something because they've just spent the last 6 months getting ready for these 2 weeks on offense. And they look like crap. So you've got to do something to fix that. What it is, I don't know. That's why they get paid millions. But this is panic time here in Jacksonville. You're going to Buffalo. You just mentioned it. You're going to Houston.
Yeah.
And by the way, nothing's a gimme if you play like this.
Right.
I mean, you just played an awful football game for 3 quarters on
Right.
top of bad 17 minutes against Miami.
Right.
That's bad football.
Yeah.
We think this is a good team. They're not a good team. We're wrong. We're wrong. They're not good.
They're a competitive team. But when you play bad football for almost 3 full quarters, it's awful tough to win in the NFL.
Well, you can get good.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you right, they are not good.
No, not right now.
They're the worst
right
team
now.
in the AFC South right now.
Yes. It's extremely disappointing. It's extremely disappointing. And again, I know that it's easy to sit there and say, all right, Trevor. And we can start with Trevor. He's the franchise quarterback of whom much is given, much is expected. But again, I go back to nice clean pocket, sit back, let it rip. Ryan Thomas Jr., 66 yards in stride.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we need.
Yeah.
Can't give him a clean pocket. I tweeted throughout the day today every time the Jags would have a second or third and short and not get it. And I just would tweet stuff rate. And I know I tweeted at least 4 times today. Stuff rate. Stuff rate is bad. You got to be able to grab that yard. And actually, quite frankly, they probably did better at it today than they did a week ago. I didn't hear their third down conversions, but
no, it's 3 of 9. They were 2 for 10 last week.
2 for 10 and 3 of 9.
And then it's not even that they got stuffed.
Yeah.
On 3 plays in the 3 possessions in the first half, I counted. They had first down pickups of 5, 6, 4 yards. Second down, they went backwards. Second down backwards, not just stuffed. -2, -2, -3. Well, now you're 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7. You can't even get positive yards on a favorable situation for your offense. This offensive line is not good right now. They've got a 32-year-old Brandon Sheriff who's declined in play, and he hasn't played good in a Jacksonville uniform overall.
Right.
They've got a 31-year-old Mitch Morse, who we just don't know how good he is, and he's been banged up. And to be honest with you, he wasn't an all-pro guy to begin with.
Right.
They have Ezra Cleveland, okay, fine. Cam Robinson, he's not been great in a Jags uniform. He's not bad, but he's not great. This offensive line is veteran, but they might be too veteran. They might be too old.
And I don't know this, but
you can't fix that.
It confuses me that we took a 4th-round pick on an offensive lineman as a project. I don't understand. Like, he's not ready to play yet. It's a 4th-round pick, Brent. You're either ready or you're not ready. It's a 4th-round pick. Our 2nd-round pick today didn't play, didn't dress.
No, Mason Smith.
Yeah. Our defensive tackle.
Well, that's here nor there to me. I just wonder, I mean, you roll the dice. You rolled the dice when you go 31, 32 years old on the offensive line.
Yeah.
And what you did is maybe whiff. And if you whiffed, that's a problem. And if you think you whiffed, then you better put Cooper Hodges in at right guard and start grooming him, because he might just be better than the other guy.
Yeah.
And I hate, Brendan Sheriff's had a wonderful career. He's a wonderful pro.
Yes.
But he maybe just not that good anymore. We might have to admit that.
And
they
again,
restructured his contract.
I don't know enough about the play today, except the unit was bad.
That's what it stunk.
Yeah, the unit was terrible today.
I mean,
so.
Ezra Cleveland on the play in the safety, he whiffs the block. They double-teamed
the guy,
that got the safety.
Yeah, he got through
they
two guys.
They double-teamed him.
Yeah, got through two guys.
Here's the deal. I said this multiple times over the last week. I said it multiple times today during the game. This is the NFL.
Yeah.
These guys are really good football players.
Right.
You get paid to make plays in the NFL. They have nobody making a play. There was one play made today, and that was Brian Thomas Jr. on a beautiful throw from Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Outside of that, can you remember another play like in a big moment that was? Cleveland was 1 for 10 on third downs. They had a 3rd and 9.
Yeah.
They gave it up. They didn't make a play. No Josh Hines-Allen, no Trayvon Walker, no defensive secondary.
Right.
They still have not forced a turnover. They only had 2 sacks and I think 8 hits on a quarterback that got hit 17 times last week.
Our defense only gave up 16. That's good
that
enough.
Offense stinks.
However, our 2 defensive ends should have had a field day today, like their guys had a field day, because they had backup offensive tackles playing this game. Backup offensive tackles. That's not good enough. And didn't we have a 1st and goal down here on like the 2 or 3 yard line in the first half?
2 after the Trevor run.
Yeah.
But then we had to call 2 timeouts because we couldn't get it lined up.
And we couldn't score. We got a field goal. We went backwards.
They're the worst scoring team in the red zone a year ago, and that has not been fixed. They were bad on third downs a year ago, and that has not been fixed.
Right.
They can't line up operationally a year ago. That has not been fixed.
Right.
Like, they've got to fix some of these things.
Right.
And they had all offseason to do it.
Yeah.
And another year to do it. And the offense is supposed to be the identity of the football team with Doug Pederson and Trevor Lawrence.
Right.
And it's not.
Yeah.
They don't have an identity.
Yeah.
That's a problem. Like, that is a panic problem.
Yeah.
Hey, Jags, you might not panic. I'm panicking for you.
Well, somebody needs to panic, and somebody needs to get it right. And Doug Pederson's defeated, and now Doug Pederson is what? 18-18 as a head coach here in Jacksonville.
And Trevor Lawrence has lost 7 consecutive games.
Yeah.
I mean, we think he's a good player, Dan.
Yeah.
But it's hard to defend it and back it up when your franchise quarterback has lost 7 consecutive football games.
I think early in the game, right? Early in the game, we had a couple missed throws, couple misfires. Remember the one over here, high, 5 yards over his head. We had Christian Kirk on a free play in the second half. We got to hit that one.
Higher. Yeah.
You know,
listen, I don't think he's been perfect. I just don't think he's been bad. He can't trust anything either.
No.
He hasn't made all the plays.
Yeah.
But I think he was very good in the first half against Miami. He was neutralized in the second half.
Right.
And I just don't sit here and say, boy, Trevor's playing bad. Trevor made a bad throw, bad play here or there.
Right.
Fine. That's okay. People are going to do that. I mean, Herbert does that. Mahomes even does that.
He had his first almost turnover of the year. He fumbled, but we were able to get it back, and it wasn't his fault. I mean, literally, gang, there were times today where he would get dropped back to pass, and they would almost beat him to the point.
Back foot, boom.
They would almost beat him to the point. It's almost like you're wondering, where did that guy come from? Did he have a free run?
Well,
did nobody block him? It was really, it's mind-numbing. And I don't understand, again, and look, 2 games in, it looks like they made a huge mistake not addressing more on the interior of the offensive line.
And here's the deal, Dan. This is why what you just said about the Trevor stuff is why I'm not going to pin it all on Trevor. You're not pinning it all on Trevor. When you have that happen with your offensive line, when you're getting blown up on second down run plays, and when you hit your back foot, and listen, I've never played, but I think it's pretty obvious.
Right.
When you hit your back foot and the guy's right there.
Yeah.
What happens is you start to lose trust.
Sure.
You can say all you want in front of a microphone, I trust these guys, I think these guys are good.
Brent, there was
you
a play.
lose trust.
They were going this way. Trevor went back to pass. They were on him so fast, he shuffled to the left and basically just flipped it to ETN.
And he made a nice catch.
But yeah, he had to make a great catch, and but because he barely got back to the point to set up, and they were on him, and he had to get out of there, and then he flipped it over there as quickly as he could. I will say this. Man, maybe we got to roll them out a little bit more.
Then it gets on Doug and press,
Yeah.
right? Now you know, okay, your offensive line isn't good. And
If you don't trust them, I don't trust them. They shouldn't trust them either. Yeah.
Don't be stubborn.
Well, you got to do your job. No, they can't.
They can't.
Especially today. They couldn't do it against this defensive line. Maybe there'll be some that they can. This is one of the better D-lines in the NFL, but it doesn't matter. I mean, the Jags, early returns are not good on the O-line. Not good.
No, and it can bust the season.
Yeah.
And listen, here's what happened last year, just to remind you.
Yeah.
And this is where I got off the Press Taylor stuff.
Yeah.
Is when you can't run for a yard and you can't move the pile,
it takes a whole chunk of the playbook out
Right,
from what you
100%.
want to do. And so if you lose trust in that, now you minimize your playbook and options and everything else. If we're already there after 2 weeks, this team's screwed. I mean, you can't combat that against good football teams. And by the way, the 2 teams they just played are really not that good of football teams overall. The 2 next teams you play
Are good.
really good football teams.
Yeah, we're staring it off. We're looking at the running back numbers right now. Liv, what are they? Give me the numbers real quick. Give us the numbers.
Not enough.
Yeah, 13 for 52 for ETN.
It's hard, too. It's hard.
Yeah.
Hard.
52.
By the way, the couple of runs by Dearness Johnson and ETN.
Dearness had 26 yards on the ground.
And they were all by themselves.
Yeah.
It wasn't because it was blocked well.
No.
They could have been 2 or 3 yard losses, each of them.
No. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to grab a break. We're going to gather. We'll get some sound in, and we'll hear from some of the locker room stuff. But we'll grab a break right now in the post-game show. We'll come back. We're live at the bank. Jags lose 18-13. They're 0-2 to start the season. Gang, only 11% of teams that start 0-2 make the playoffs since 1990. So
we play 17 games now around here.
They better stare at themselves in the mirror and figure things out in a hurry, because they're getting paid a lot of money. And I know one guy who's not going to be real happy, and that's the guy who sits in the box up there.
He can't be happy.
Ooh.
That's, by the way, another storyline.
Yeah,
he
that's
delivered that
coming.
message, and
Yes,
they
he
have
did.
not responded.
No.
We'll be right back
Yes.
from everything.
Get local sports on demand with Action Sports Jax 24/7. All sports, all local, all the time. From the locker room to the field, the Jags, high school football, the Jacksonville Armada, and don't forget the Brent and Austin Show. They're all in on Trevor. Of course. Download the Action News Jax Now app, available wherever you stream or at actionnewsjax.com. TV, phone, laptop, desktop. Action Sports Jax 24/7. Jacksonville sports, all the time.
When I say it means something to me, gentlemen, it means something to me.
High school football is back, and it's bigger than ever. Welcome to the Friday Night Zone Blitz.
It is bigger than a game.
Watch the biggest games each week live as the action unfolds with instant reaction and analysis from our Hall of Famer, Kevin Sullivan. It starts with live look-ins at the top matchups, including our Jaguars Prep Whataburger Game of the Week. And that is just the beginning of 4 straight hours of coverage. From 8 to 10:30, the Friday Night Zone Blitz is streaming on our Action News Jax app and online. At 10:30, the Friday Night Blitz you know and love. A half hour of highlights from around the area. 11 o'clock, we shine the spotlight on the bands that pump up the crowd. 11:15, it's time to blitz through the highlights online and on air. Then 11:35, back to the stream to break down the night's results with a reaction from local coaches. 4 straight hours of high school football on the Friday Night Zone Blitz. Only on Action Sports Jax 24/7.
I've been forecasting the weather for a long time, and no matter where I go, I always get asked the same question.
Hey, Mike, what's the weather gonna be like?
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Mike, hey, what's the weather gonna be like? I don't mind being asked because I always have the answer. Great day for a perfect round of golf. Hey, little rain later today. So go ahead, ask me.
Hey, Mike, I'm heading out. What's the weather like tonight?
It's the same question, even at home.
Mike Burrish, he's got your weather answer on Action News Jax. Jags Nation, this is the Action Sports Jax postgame show.
All right, you're looking at some of the scores from around the National Football League. Close games like the NFL is all about. Big surprise with the Raiders beating the Ravens, I thought, 26-23.
That's unbelievable. They were down 10.
Yeah, that's kind of a surprise right there. So the Jets got their first win with Aaron Rodgers. They went down to Tennessee and won that game. Welcome to the cellar, Tennessee. We're right there with you.
Ravens are 0-2.
Yeah, good point. Good point. So they got some
the best team in the AFC. We thought
they got some work to do, and in the afternoon games, the Cardinals are beating the heck out of the Rams, 21-3 early on. So we'll have more coming up tonight on Action Sports Jax Primetime. If we look at the AFC South standings, it's not pretty. Houston gets Chicago tonight. I gotta like Houston's chances. We could be staring at a 2-game deficit right off the rip here. It's just very disappointing. Disappointing at all.
Yeah, we'll welcome you back to the Jaguars postgame show. Brent, Martineau, Dan Hicken, the rest of the Action Sports Jax team, and you know. You try to catch yourself a little bit, right? You're 2 weeks in, but this was huge. We knew this. We knew this would set the kind of the temperature, and you could almost hit the panic button. Now, what I will say is, like, the ebbs and flows of the seasons are crazy. There are a lot of injuries today in the NFL with big-name players. Remember, it was just last year the Jags had a 2-game lead over Houston somewhat late in the year and then flopped. Same thing when the Jags rallied back.
Anything can happen, but
I mean, it's
I'd much rather be 2-0.
or 1-1's fine right now, right? Or, well, it would be fine right now.
Yeah.
It'd be better.
Yeah.
I don't know if you should give up on the season, but man, do they have to change something. Like, they got to get going.
Well, Trevor Lawrence told us this was his best team. Eric Armstead said he came here to win a Super Bowl. Eric Armstead in the locker room just moments ago. Let's hear from him right now.
Disappointed. You know, it's a battle out there. Disappointed that you know, we didn't come out with a win and we didn't find a way to do enough and make enough plays to beat them. So definitely frustrated. Starting off our season 0-2, but you know, league doesn't stop. We got to find a way to get better. You know, for next week.
How tough is it not being able to capitalize on some of those opportunities you guys have? I mean, trying to get after Deshaun Watson, and he just barely escapes on some of those plays.
Yeah, you know, he's an escape artist. Everyone knows that. You know, there's a lot of talented guys in the league, and he's one of them. Definitely with his legs, getting out of things, and you just got to keep rushing. You know, keep going, and you know what you're dealing with. You know, have a plan for it, and then just play. You know, you can't dwell on it too much. You know, you just give your best effort to try to get him down, and know that he's a mobile guy and can move around.
Starting the season 0-2, do you think you guys can start panicking a little bit?
Panicking? No, it's never panic. You know, for me, you know, I think that we got to look hard in the mirror individually. Everyone needs to see what we could do better individually to, you know, help our team win. And it's never a panic. Because that's when things start to spiral. It's cleaning some things up, looking hard in the mirror, and working to get better for next week. And you know that'll be my mindset. And look hard at the tape, figure out what you know, the mistakes I've made out there, and clean those up and try to be a better football player to help this team win.
How important is it to stay a unit, you know, in the locker room? You started the season off 0-2, and you know, not pointing the finger or anything like that.
Yeah, that's huge. You know, like I said, everyone needs to look in the mirror and figure out what they need to do individually to be better to help our team win. It's no pointing the finger. You know, you can't sit here and blame, you know, start blaming one another, because the only thing you have control over is what you do. And look hard in the mirror, and were you good enough today to help our team win, or could you have done more? What mistakes did you make? But, you know, adversity like this, there's going to be adversity throughout the season for everybody. You know, you never know when it comes, but adversity should bring you closer as a unit, because you know, you're all in it together. You know, we all we got. This is going to be our team for this season. So if we want to get it turned around, we got to come together, come closer, and find a way to get better.
That last drive, back-to-back penalties as you guys were getting after Watson, is it at least a little bit encouraging that when the game's on the line, you guys on the defense were out there doing, you know, going the entire 60 minutes, not saying, okay, well, they just got that safety, it's over, but you know, hey, we got any time on the clock, we got to go make a play.
No, it's not rewarding because we didn't come out with the win. You know, this is a team sport. You know, we're all affected. You know, even if you have a good game and you do some good things, there's always things to improve and get better upon. It's 100% you know, failure sport. No one has a completely perfect game out there. So there's always things you can clean up and get better. And so whether you did good or bad this game, you know, my mindset is to look hard at the things that you didn't do so well to help us win.
All right, that's Eric Armstead. That's a veteran. That's a guy who's not going to panic and blah, blah, blah. I kind of want some more anger out, more fire. I want to remind folks of the Jags, who, you know, we think are a good team, and were a good team last year, are 3-6 at this place in the last 9 games. That's not near good enough. That doesn't get you into the postseason. This is a disastrous loss at home to a Cleveland team. That can't happen. I'm curious to hear from Mitch Morse, though. He represents the offensive line, and I wonder what he has to say.
Yeah, the Browns, by the way, are not a good road team either. Just
right.
to let you know, and I told you before the game, Dan, I don't feel a lot of energy down there.
Yeah.
And I said I did not feel a lot of energy in the bank, and now we have late arriving crowds. Do they not feel the energy as well? Did they feel what I felt? You have to create your energy.
Players do.
Yeah, the players do.
The fans
You're
will
at
cheer
home.
if they play well. It got
They
loud
sat out here in the
half.
rain,
I
man.
know.
I mean, you did nothing to make them cheer.
No.
And I'll tell you this, the 20 points against Miami was way better than this 18 points against Cleveland for the defense.
Yeah.
The defense I mean, they did some good things.
Yeah.
But Cleveland should have probably rolled the Jags today.
Yeah.
They shot themselves in the foot like a million times.
Yeah.
The Jags got a breaks, had 13 penalties. They couldn't get off 34 minutes despite going 2 for 14 on third down.
Wow.
2 for 14, and they still had the ball for 34 minutes. That's a little bit on the offense, but that's a lot on the defense, too, not be able to make a play. And they have 0 turnovers in 8 quarters.
Yeah.
0.
Gotta
They
get
have
the
not
ball.
got the football yet.
Got to get the ball.
So you can find some nice things in the defense, and this is the offense's fault, and we should all be talking about the offense.
Yes.
But let's not go praising the defense too much. Not
No.
against Deshaun Watson and this stinky offense for Cleveland. Missing 2 tackles, David
tight end.
Njoku.
Yeah.
And they didn't even use Jerome Ford enough. He was rolling it off at 9 yards a pop, and they didn't give it to him.
Yeah. Back to the offense again. Let's hear from Mitch Morse, the Jaguars center. Offensive line. Woo, tough day at the office.
Disappointment's an understatement. Our defense put us in every advantageous situation, and as an offensive unit, we just squandered opportunities. It's not one person's fault. I think we're all going to be mature about it and point inwards, look inwards, and it's going to be tough, but that's how you grow. And you have to after stuff like this, and if you don't, that's when you can have huge swings or ebbs and flows in the locker room, and this team is too tight to let that happen.
How tough of a play is that safety? You guys backed up on the 2, needing that 2-minute drive and give that play up.
Yeah, we need to give our quarterback an opportunity to throw the ball, and we didn't. And, we killed every momentum we had. Our defense did another good job of giving us the ball back, and it was too late. We just didn't do well enough.
You're starting to see the 0-2. Is that, I assume that's surprising for you? You thought this was a better team than the 0-2 team?
Of course, yeah. Well, you hold yourself to a high standard. And, everything we've done, we've shot ourselves in the foot. So what can we do except find an opportunity to be critical, be constructive, and then when the opportunity presents itself to put our best foot forward, the next time we're on the field we have to, or, we're not doing anyone a service.
A couple opportunities right there at the goal line on offense. What does this team have to do to be able to punch it in when you're on the 2-yard line right there and not have to settle for field goal attempts?
I think communication, first and foremost, and then it just comes down to execution.
I'm getting tired of that execution word.
Yeah, but I think it's a big deal coming out of this game, and I'll tell you why. You heard the sound, and if you were here earlier, you heard on the Jaguars postgame show Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
And if you really listen to what he said, sure, he'll own some of it, but he basically said, you better do your job.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to do your job, get the heck out of the league because you have to do the job. Yeah. That was a little bit of calling out other. He tried not to come off that way in doing it the way Trevor does it. That was adamant.
What's happened to this team that was so tight? What's happened to this team that was so together, and 2 losses and it's all falling apart seemingly? What's happened to Christian Kirk? Why isn't he catching the football, man?
He made a great catch today, and it was from -1 yard.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a non-factor right now.
Non-factor.
And you said it. What's going to be interesting to watch here is, as I always say this, organizations around the NFL have a level of toxicity to begin with.
Yeah.
To begin with.
Yeah.
Wins and losses dictate whether that increases or decreases.
Yeah, they like to call that culture, but throw that out.
No.
It's about winning and losing.
It is, because there's so much to gather in the right place. There's so much ego about how you build things. Well, keep an eye on this one, because if Trent Baalke signed off on this offensive line, now Doug Pederson's like, you gave me this offensive line.
Right.
And I'm not telling you that's happening, but it happens.
Yeah.
And it's natural that it happens.
Fingers get pointed.
That's right, and especially when you lose. So I'm not suggesting that's happening yet.
When this show goes off the rails, I always point at this guy.
Well, that is true.
It's always his
fault. And it's
fault.
usually not my fault.
Yeah.
But that's what happens. And that will happen eventually if you can't fix it. Right. And we also, on top of that, have, I think, Baalke and Shad Khan saying, aren't you supposed to be calling plays, Doug?
Right.
And we didn't know this, but did Doug take over the play calling in the second half?
He may have.
It
kind of looked like he did. I don't know. And really, again, whether it matters or not, it might matter to the guy writing the checks.
Well, it matters because they stink right now.
Yeah, and Christian Kirk, it might matter to him because he was catching a lot of balls, but he's not catching balls this year. Let's hear from him right now and see what he has to say about the offensive woes.
nobody's going to point fingers. Nobody's going to isolate somebody for what they're doing wrong. All we're going to do is just keep reinforcing that we believe in one another, and it just starts with our preparation and just going out there and making it happen.
What was the biggest issue on offense today?
I think the glaring one for us just being out there was just, communication. Like I said, talked about earlier, communication in and out of the huddle, being able to, get to the line of scrimmage, win the pre-snap, and then, personnels and whatnot, but I would say communication.
Travis said that he feels like his team needs to adopt a killer mentality, like a dog mentality, that he didn't feel like it was there. Would you echo those sentiments?
I mean, there's going to be certain guys that feel certain ways about what we need and what we can provide, and I think it's all great, and when you see somebody else, especially like Travis, who can set the tone, that's great, because he's a polarizing player for us, so he definitely has that and has that mentality, and, I think we can all individually kind of bring a certain mentality and approach, because we could use it right now. We can kind of use anything that our leaders want to give and, want to help turn this thing around, I think is useful.
Christian, most of the guys on this offense have been here for a while. So how does the communication issue kind of rear its head with a lot of vets?
No, that's the frustrating part, because we've been in this system for a long time now, 3 years now, and so especially for us that have been here, it's frustrating. So I think it just goes back to taking the practice to the game. Because we have been having great weeks of practice. We go out there and feel confident in the game plan, feel confident in what we're doing, and then when we get out, there on Sunday, it's just not translating. So I think that's just one of the things that we need to look at a little closer and really need to hold each other accountable for.
Everybody's frustrated, right? I mean, what's your frustration level? It looked like Doug was up there around a 9 or a 10, same with Trevor.
Yeah, I'd say I'm up there.
Would you say that a lot of this is just not finding the rhythm, and is that coming from the overall big picture?
It's kind of hard to pinpoint. Kind of get lost in, especially at the end when it's 2 minute and you're just trying to run plays, trying to get in position, and things are going fast. So I think it's just one of those things. Once we're able to look at it, look at the tape, be able to pinpoint a little bit better on what's really causing us to sputter like this as an offense.
Let me ask you 2 questions real quick. One, he's talking about the system. Hey, is Doug Pederson's system solved? That's question 1. And question 2, I said this to you in the press box. Cleveland came out and their script was different, creative. Jacksonville came out and it was run up the middle, short pass to the tight end, miss a 3rd and 7 deep ball punt. It just, take advantage, come out with something different, because you can always take advantage in the script. You can always throw some different things if those are the 15 plays you're ready to run. But I don't know. So your thoughts? Is Doug Pederson's offense does he need to take a look and say, I need to change this up? I need more window dressing. I need more motions. I don't know.
Well, I think we wondered that last year. Yeah. And I love that they started to add the under center stuff this year. Now, we didn't see much of it today. And was that because of the offensive line? They didn't trust it because Trevor would turn and boom, you'd have somebody there. The other part I think is interesting, because I think they were defensive both weeks offensively. They wanted to keep the ball away from Miami, so that was a defensive mentality. Okay. This time they're afraid of Cleveland's defense dominating the game. Defensive mentality. If you have a good offense, why don't you be aggressive and go take it to them, man? Yeah, go take it to them. Yeah. I think they have to start approaching it like that a little bit more, to your point. Right now, I don't know what they have confidence in.
It's going to be a long year if they don't turn this thing around. Here we go again. We cannot be 0-2, and now we're staring with Buffalo and Houston on the road before coming back here to play Indy in 3 weeks.
Oof, tough. All right, that'll do it for the Jaguars postgame show. We have Action Sports Jax primetime tonight, 10:30 on Fox 30, 11:30 on CBS 47. Jags Report live tomorrow night at String Sports Brewery. It might be a therapy session.
It might be.
We might be by ourselves.
I have to get on the couch. On the couch.
Try to have a good rest of your week, everybody.
Jags Nation, thanks for watching the Action Sports Jax postgame show.
Baker Sports is local sports. Uniforms from Pop Warner and Little League to travel ball, high school, and college. They make you look good. They help you play good. Baker Sports has been helping families make memories that will last a lifetime with their Baker's Buckets. We've got a lot of these filled with baseballs and softballs in the garage. I've been throwing batting practice to Ty and Kaylee for years, and also sit on the Baker's Bucket, catching Kaylee while she practices her pitching. Baker Sports is homegrown, and a lot of employees that used to play on local ball fields now work for Baker Sports, now helping you look good, play good, and make memories of your own. Visit Bakersport.com to see what Baker Sports can do for you. Custom apparel, Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, embroidery, screen printing, and more. Baker Sports is local sports. From Jacksonville to anywhere in the Southeast. Bakersport.com.
It's hard to put a price on comfort, especially when you use that comfort on a daily basis. But if we're going to put a price on it, how does the lowest price guaranteed sound? Furniture Source is going to have the biggest brands, whether it's Ashley, Casper, or Tempur-Pedic, and once again, it's going to be the guaranteed lowest price in Jacksonville. Right now, my friends at Furniture Source are going to give you the ultimate hookup because all month long, they're making their inventory wholesale price. Check out their markdowns up to 50% off. And remember, since it's Furniture Source, you're getting the guaranteed lowest prices in Florida or your money back. Don't have the cash on you right now? It's no worry. Shop endless options to suit your style and budget and enjoy 36 months off with no interest financing. Why use your money when you can use theirs? Whether it's beds, couches, tables, or chairs, Furniture Source is going to have exactly what you're looking for. Shop the lowest prices in Jacksonville guaranteed. Find the location nearest you at FurnitureSourceJax.com.
For the game day hustle and every day in between. Juggling my show, Jags Social, to going under the Friday night lights and a social life, it's a daily tournament. But this ride, MVP status. The all-new 2024 Lincoln Nautilus isn't just my car, it's my personal locker room, office on the go, and VIP lounge on wheels. Let's talk tech. My profile remembers everything from customizing my dash display to setting the ambient lighting and my signature scent. And wireless charging, essential for live tweeting scores. Whether I'm packing for a beach day with friends or heading to the gym, there's space for every passion. After dominating all day, this becomes my recovery zone. The massage feature is like having a personal PT on call. Life's a non-stop game, but with this ride, I'm always on my A game. The 2024 Lincoln Nautilus. Drive your passion.